Craft, and today I'll show you how to crochet some of these super fluffy, soft crochet hair scrunchies using Bernat Blanket Yarn scraps. So I just have some of these little balls left over from like crocheting blankets and other bigger projects, and this is the perfect way to use up some of that extra yarn. For one of these bigger hair scrunchies, you'll need about 11 yards of Bernat Blanket yarn or another number 6 super bulky like chenille style yarn. And then you'll see when we're working on the video that if you just do the first round, you can make a smaller hair scrunchie. And for that one, you'll need less than 5 yards. So regardless, you can make a little hair scrunchie. So you'll need either 11 yards if you're making the bigger hair scrunchie or less than 5 if you're doing the little ones. You'll need a couple of hair elastics. You just need one for each hair scrunchie unless you have really thin elastics, and then you might want to double up. You will also need a crochet hook. I'm using a K 6.5mm crochet hook. This is a Furls Odyssey. And then you'll just need notions like scissors and a tapestry needle that has a wide eye because this is really thick yarn. Before we get started, please make sure that you like this video, hit the notification bell on my channel so you never miss anything, and then subscribe so that you can see all of the cool free crochet patterns and tutorials. So let's get started making our hair scrunchies. So the first thing you'll do is make a slip knot. And then tighten it up. Not all the way though. And then we're going to set that aside and insert our hook into the center of our hair elastic. I should have mentioned earlier, but these are just like goodie hair elastics that I picked up at Target. So put your slip knot onto your hook, tighten it up a little bit more, and then you're going to pull it through your hair elastic so that your elastic is like on your yarn strand. And I'm just going to chain 1. And then from here, I'm going to single crochet all the way around my crochet hair elastic, or it's not crochet yet, but soon it will be a crochet hair scrunchie. So for round 1, I'm going to work 35 single crochet stitches around. If your elastic is a little bit bigger or smaller than mine, then you might need a little bit more or less single crochets. It's not really a big deal though. No one will be counting. But all right, so for a single crochet, I'm going to kind of have my elastic over my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop. Now I have 2 loops on my hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops. So there's my first single crochet. This yarn does not give you a lot of stitch definition, so if you're not used to crocheting with it, it can be a little bit tricky to find your stitches sometimes. But I'm just getting going. I'm just doing single crochet stitches all the way around my elastic. So you can see that I've already got it like half covered. The only problem with that though is that when you stretch it, you can still see the elastic through. So that's why we do 35 instead of maybe like 15. Well, let's see. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I guess probably 20 would like cover this whole thing. But we need more than that. So when it stretches, you're not seeing the elastic because it'll have to stretch to go on your wrist and it'll have to stretch to go in your hair. So you want to make sure that the whole band is covered. When you get close to the end, you'll need to kind of scrunch it to the side. So I have 18 now. 33, 34, and 35 single crochet stitches. If you wanted to, you could potentially just stop here. Honestly, this is pretty cute too. It's just not as big, and that's okay. Depending on what your look you're going for. For this tutorial, I am going to go further, but if you wanted to stop here, you could invisible join and then like tie a knot and weave in your ends. But all right, for those of you who want to continue to make a bigger crochet scrunchie, then you will slip stitch to the first stitch, and then I'm going to chain one. You don't really need to because it's gonna like get really curvy and ruffly as you crochet, so you won't really be able to tell if you don't have a chain one. But then you're going to do 2 single crochets in each of the single crochets from round 1. And this is what's going to give us most of those ruffles, because this will be a lot of increasing. And we'll finish off round 2 with 70 stitches. If you like crochet scrunchies, I have another pattern that uses worsted weight yarn. I'll put up the link so you can check that out too. So I'm about halfway done with my round where I'm putting 2 single crochets in every stitch. I'm going to finish off camera. You can do the same, just pause the video and finish up, and then I'll show you how to invisible join and weave in your ends, unless you're already good with that, in which case feel free to turn it off, and I will see you later. So I have like 1 or 2 stitches left, so just finishing up round 2. Again, you should have twice as many stitches as were in round 1. So I did 35 single crochets in round 1. So with 2 in each, I'll end up with 70 single crochets in round 2. But if you needed like 40 single crochets, then you'll have 80 in this round. And if you had like 30, then you'll have 60 in round 2. So anyway, I've wrapped up, I finished everything. So I'm just going to trim a tail. I know I say this in every video, but I usually like to leave like about a 6 to 8 inch tail to weave in ends. Just trim that, and then I'll pull the yarn all the way through using my hook. I'll attach my tapestry needle. Again, you need one with a really wide eye because this is some fat yarn. This is the Bernat Blanket Yarn, which I love because it's super soft. It's like a chenille yarn, but it does not fit in like normal tapestry needles. Okay, so to invisible join, this will be a little bit harder to see than if I was using like a non-fluffy yarn. But you're going to insert your needle through the V of like the second stitch in that round. So I'll skip this first stitch here. I don't care about this one. And I'll insert my needle all the way through both loops of the top of the second stitch. And I'll pull that all the way through. And basically what this does is it's going to kind of make a new V to cover the one in that first stitch so that you won't be able to tell that you've joined your yarn. So now I'm going to go through the middle between the two loops of the top of the stitch that I just finished. And then I usually go down into the stitch 2. And there we go. So again, it's hard to see because it's so fluffy, but this blends in pretty seamlessly, so you can't tell that there's a join there. So now I'm going to weave this yarn down through rounds 1 and 2 until I get near my starting tail. This yarn is just so thick. It doesn't always do what you want it to do. So I'm going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to go off and weave in my ends just so that we know it'll be secure. I'm going to try to push this knot as far down as I can and then pull on each strand to tighten it. And then now I'm going to weave in each of these strands separately. But that is it. So you have followed along from start to finish and crocheted your own handmade crochet scrunchie using Bernat Blanket Yarn or another like super bulky chenille yarn that you have. So these are super full, cute, and very, very soft scrunchies. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the You Should Craft channel and check out the You Should Craft blog for more free patterns and crochet tutorials.